Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Ether Tale Radio Theatre. I'm your host, Scott Paulson, and our band of merry players are here. We're often called the not ready for airtime players, but I think we're ready this time. Well, this is our sound check. Barbara, are you there? Barbara Henderson?
I'm here, Scott.
And how about you, Melanie Peters? Are you there?
Here I am.
Karen Fisher, are you there?
Present and accounted for.
Excellent. Peter Flynn.
I talked into this thing?
Yes, exactly right. And Gabriel Pan, are you in the studio?
Hello.
Excellent. And, we brought in our auto harp, our orchestral harp, our little bell tree. I brought the theremin, but it's just too hard to reach. I think we won't have theremin today. And then we have one of our keyboards. So I think we're pretty much ready to go. I'm going to turn my phone off, perhaps. I also had it off when people were locked out of the studio. Sorry, everybody, but we made it in. So tonight's a very special night where we're presenting a silent film live on radio. The movie is Genuine, Tale of a Vampire. We've been arguing how to say Genuine. I like Genuine, but we're all going to say it different ways based upon our characters' needs. And this film came out in 1920, the same year as Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, from the same filmmaker, the same director, the same art designer. Spectacular film, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Also very spectacular, this Genuine, Tale of a Vampire. But by the time Genuine was released several months after Cabinet, people were just over that sort of pantomime style of acting, and the movie was a flop, which is such a shame because it deserved to be appreciated. Such a wonderful actress in it, a lovely woman who was a circus performer from the Midwest, and she transformed herself into an exotic vampire lady, so delightful. And the character didn't survive this version, but there's also a wonderful African actor in the movie who had amazing outfits, costumes, and stage makeup. He was spectacular. And I'll post some of this information on the website, I think. But it's great fun to present this movie as a silent film, especially because the film was so confusing. Partially confusing because all the characters reappeared in different centuries and decades and were other people. That was confusing for the audience members. But also partially confusing because American audiences only saw a 45-minute version of it that was chopped up pretty hideously. But it's just so beautiful to watch and so beautifully filmed and so exotic and wonderful. Now, the vampire in the movie is really more vamp than vampire. I think they changed the title of the film at the last second, I think just because vampires were in. But the original title, she wasn't necessarily called a vampire, and it certainly wasn't a title word in the movie. And the film in its entirety can only be viewed going to a special film vault. And according to the internet, the film vault is in Munich, but it's not. It's in Berlin. I know, because I went to Munich. I went to the film vault on a very rainy day, taking lots of strange buses, and got there and they said, "Nope, 9." It's in Berlin. So one of these days I will see the full one. But in the meantime, I really want to present this to my audiences, my American audiences, in a way that they would appreciate it. So we stripped out all the title cards and retranslated some of the ones that we were familiar with and added in some extra meaning that had been lost. And we also took lots of liberties, but I think we did a great job. And I hope sometime you'll be able to watch this as a silent film with my orchestra playing. And probably, around Halloween time we would. On a Friday the 13th we would. Something that makes sense. On a blood moon, on a blue moon, on a this moon, on a wolf moon. We'll find another time to show it. But I love showing this film. And I'm particularly excited to now show this silent movie on the radio with my colleagues. I had to change a lot of the characters because we had some wonderful actresses who needed roles. And so Henry became Henrietta. And there were also some other changes too. And we're not afraid to recast creatively. So we had our sound check, and I think we're ready to go for this radio version of my favorite silent film, Genuine, Tale of a Vampire.
Dear listeners, hear me, Barbara Hextrum. Hear me well. I am compelled to reveal to you tonight the tale of a vampire named Genuine. In this life, I am the humble servant of a painter named Percy. He hails from wealth, but was disowned when he chose the paintbrush over established family interests. Percy could have been happy, excepting for said artist's obsession with Genuine, the vampire. Percy has been feverishly researching the macabre story of Genuine, the ancient subject of his most recent painting. On this night, he is exhausted and disturbed by the information he's unearthed about this hypnotic historical figure named Genuine. Percy finally falls into a troubled sleep, surrounded by tomes of ancient texts, still hoping to learn more about the evil beauty of Genuine, the vampire. The chaise that he has collapsed upon is his favorite spot, as, while reclining in it, he is in full view of his most recent painting of his obsession, Genuine. His sleep is soon disturbed by that very painting of our mysterious lady. Dear listeners, the vampire woman in the painting now comes to life. She pries her two-dimensional self from the canvas, and now, as flesh and blood, she creeps toward the sleeping painter and whispers in his ear.
You know almost too much about me, painter. We have met in past lives, and perhaps this fact will come back to your memory. But know this now, we will meet again one day soon, and I will visit your dreams in the meantime. Keep scouring these documents and journals if you dare to learn about my disturbing origins. I was once the priestess of a savage sect, and in my reign as Genuine the vampire, I hosted horrors of cruelty. Yes, my followers gathered blood for me to drink. So many sinful ceremonies. I thought my beastly reign would last without interruption, but a rival sect of zealots invaded and carried me off. My cult was defeated, and time and talismans subjugated me. My memories were all but eradicated, my powers drained, and I languished in captivity. In a den of drugs and dazed dancing dearies, I waited for rediscovery. Fortunately for me, Lord Milo, a wealthy man of science, arrived.
I am searching for the legend that is Genuine. But none of these is the woman I seek. Wait, here. Can it be? This is Genuine.
But, my lord, she is fierce and savage. Think what you are doing.
Madam, please. Who are you to object?
You called me madam, and that is exactly my role. I am the madam here.
Oh.
And my lord, no. I beg you, please reconsider. She is dangerous.
I know what I am doing, and I have twice the gold that you require.
The payment is generous, Lord Milo. But if you must take her with you, take also this ring and wear it always. It is the one thing she fears.
Dear listeners, a less than conscious Genuine and her more than misguided savior crossed continents and oceans to reach the secret laboratory of the Milo family. Now held in a subterranean research garden at Lord Milo's estate, Genuine is pacified with the blood of exotic birds. On the first of each month, provisions arrive to restore Jeannuine's health. Exotic medicinal plants and anointed charms. She regained much of her strength, but the powerful ring on Lord Milo's hand kept Jeannuine in check, and sleep potions kept her at bay.
Oh, let me go upstairs once, just once, my Lord Milo.
No, my angel, no, my beauty. Up there is life with its ugliness. Here, in this underground garden, everything smiles at you. Only here can you be completely happy. Your rest here in your daybed, you rest right here. And enjoy the restorative sunbeams cascading down from the skylight. Oh, way, way up there. I'm going to my laboratory. Do not follow me, Jeannuine.
If only I could climb up to the skylight and get out to where I could be free. Perhaps in that freedom, more of my past memories would return.
And in the laboratory, a letter has arrived from Lord Milo's grandson.
Oh, correspondence. From my grandson. What does it say? After so many years, may I come to see you, your grandson, Percy. My grandson wastes his life as an artist, a painter. The years of scientific education I provided him thrown away. I planned to share all my research with him. I hoped he would take over the laboratory and carry on my work. Wait, an idea comes to me. If my ungrateful grandson must come here, he will serve my work after all, as a study subject. Percy will finally be of use to me and my work. My considerable investment in him will be salvaged after all. Oh, the horrors I shall observe should Percy happen to encounter Jeannuine. She won't be content with the blood of birds much longer, and Percy will be the perfect victim. Ooh, I'll make a note in my journal. See. Note 1. How will Jeannuine, once a vampire priestess, react to the presence of Percy? Will her deadly instincts reemerge? Number 2. Jeannuine, by all accounts, never kills directly, but subverts a pawn in a dream. Number 3. This pawn then kills Jeannuine's intended victim and offers up the blood to her. Number 4. Which unwanted newcomers will she subvert to be her pawn? Who will be her victim? Oh, so fascinating. Oh, the birds, how they shriek. Jeannuine must be feeding. Oh, this all makes me want to dance. I'm so happy. Ah, who on earth is that?
It's me, the barber.
Oh, the barber. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yes, you're here to shave, but what I really need is sleep. Oh, you know, the young ward that I care for has the power to haunt my dreams. I dare not sleep unattended, Barber. Oh, that's why I can take a nap when you're here. I'm so grateful. Oh, but she's also very dangerous while awake. Please, Barber, notice I keep no sharp objects in the house for a reason. So, do not leave any of your tools behind today. Oh, Barber, these noontime shaving visits from you and the other town barbers are my only chance to nap. So don't be alarmed if I draw.
But as Lord Milo naps, Jeannuine begins an ascent to freedom through the skylight.
This tree has grown so tall this season, it reaches the skylight. I'll climb to freedom.
Now free from her confines, Jeannuine is drawn to Lord Milo and the barber. From behind a curtain, she orchestrates a death scene.
Chaste, unsullied blood courses through the veins of this Barber. Oh, but he'll be a later meal. I need him to kill Lord Milo today. Barber, the knife in your hand. Use it. Cut his throat.
It is done.
I am soon to be in ecstasy. Now bring me his blood, Barber. And take the ring from the master's dead hand. Possess the ring, and all will obey you.
The barber should have been overcome with guilt, but the powerful ring blinded him, as did his adoration of the vampire. Jeanne would have stolen the ring for herself, but she was still too weak to gain control of it. She toyed with the barber for weeks, and he found more victims for her, but soon she tired of him.
Oh, Jeanne, how may I prove the depth of my love to you?
Kill yourself. Kill yourself as in the sacrifices of long ago. What a beautiful proof of love.
The barber is dumbstruck, and Jeanne takes the ring from him. With all that fresh blood, Jeanne's long-hidden powers and her memories of the past begin to return. And now, with the ring, Jeanne becomes unstoppable. Seemingly, the barber retreats to the village and takes his own life in grief.
And now I shall prepare for the arrival of Percy the painter, as foretold in Lord Milo's journal. I hope the painter has friends. This old place could so use some new blood. But first, I need a trousseau.
Jeanne fashions a new wardrobe from the finery at the estate. Her dream guest, Percy, arrives and is directed via a greeting letter on the door to make himself at home. She waits for dusk and then goes upstairs to bewitch her dream lover, Percy. She leers at the painter. She awakens him with an odd greeting.
Ah, painter, finally we meet in the flesh. I regret that your grandfather, Lord Milo, is away.
What? Who are you?
I am Jeanne. Your grandfather asked me to act as hostess in his absence.
My dreams, my paintings. I know who you are. You've come to life. You are beautiful, Jeanne.
Jeanne bewitches Percy over a period of weeks. He soon writes a letter to his trusted art teacher, Henrietta, at the convent where she now resides.
Henrietta, I cannot come to your convent this month to restore the murals. Can you come to my grandfather's estate instead? Can you be excused from your religious duties to visit an old friend for a holiday? I am in love with a beautiful creature and want to provide introductions. Signed, your loyal student and lifelong friend, Percy.
Henrietta arrives within the week, and after settling in, asks for a private audience with the lady of the house.
Jeanne, I arrived as fast as I could because I have important advice for you.
How could you have advice for me, Henrietta? You know nothing about me.
On the contrary, I'm very surprised you do not recognize me. My identical twin, Marietta, and I look exactly alike. Marietta was Madame at that very bizarre bazaar slave market where you danced and languished for years.
Oh, please don't tell Percy.
I have no intention of telling Percy anything about your past. You both have discoveries to make in your own time.
Oh, thank you, Henrietta.
Your life has taken evil twists and unlikely turns, much like my sister's. I was lucky, and I think your luck is changing for the better.
How do you mean?
My sister, me, you, Percy, and even Percy's maid, Barbara, have all met in past lives, albeit in quite different roles. In this lifetime, we are all working together to get you on track for redemption and happiness. These next few weeks will decide your fate. You and Percy must explore the estate together for clues to our collective past. Do not give too much guidance to Percy. He is a man, after all, and can't handle the truth of life well. He and all men need extra time to process the truth.
Amen, Sister Henrietta.
Genuine, my love, why all of a sudden do you want to open the old shipping trunks here at the estate?
There is a lot about me that can be revealed in these trunks. Your grandfather found me in a state of amnesia, and apparently these trunks contain my, or my family's, past possessions. We should explore this past together.
Aha! Look at this ceremonial sword. It looks so very seriously functional.
Perhaps the key word you said was ceremonial. Hopefully just used at occasions of pomp and circumstance. Like a military graduation, I hope.
And look at all these amulets and trinkets and charms and evil eyes.
Just good luck charms to charm strangers into loving the bearer, certainly.
Ah, genuine, my love, you do not need rings, knives, or talismans to own me. I am already yours. I always was yours. In life, as in our dreams, we are one. I profess my love to you.
Genuine is overcome by Percy's honesty. In this moment, Genuine is changed. Isn't this a lovely moment, dear listeners? I regret to inform you this romantic moment does not last. Back at the laboratory, during a private search, Percy has stumbled upon his grandfather's journals and learns the truth about the murderous background of his Genuine. Percy has a breakdown and collapses into madness.
Oh, woe is me! Can she only want to drink my blood? Is this love she professes a ploy to gain her vile sustenance? Henrietta, help me! Is Genuine a vampire, as the journals claim? I cannot live without her. I will end it all!
Get a grip on yourself, Percy. I'll fix this.
Sometime later, in Genuine's throne room.
Percy, my love, is that you? Oh, Henrietta, what has happened? Does Percy believe that I am changed, that our love is true? I should have warned him about those journals.
Henrietta stares coldly and, as if hypnotized, says,
I have done as you commanded in the dream, priestess. Percy is dead.
Dead? No, please, no. I did not command it. I could not. I love him.
He is alive. He is alive, Genuine. Forgive my ruse, but I had to be sure you are truly changed. Percy is alive. Your love is true, and you are both free. Go to him now, and do not doubt yourself. Lord Milo thought he could study you, Genuine, but Percy is the one who understands you. I bless this union. But you both must leave this accursed house.
Thank you, Henrietta. We leave tonight.
Again, dear listeners, isn't this romantic? But, yet again, more trouble is ahead.
She is a vampire. A vampire lives here. I must end this.
It's the barber. He is alive.
Whose soul shall she steal next? Which man shall kill for her? Whose blood shall she drink?
Genuine is in the lab, alone and frightened.
Percy, where are you? We must away.
Hello, Genuine. Remember me?
Florian the barber, you're alive? Forgive me, Florian. My powers are gone, yet my curses remain. I cannot change the spell. I cannot set you free.
Shall I be free if you are dead, mistress? Look, I found your ceremonial sword.
So that was very dramatic. Oh, my. Oh, my heart. Thank goodness I've got my little pills here. I can take it. It was just so wonderful, everybody. Thank you. Thank goodness we have a screamer in the house. Melanie Trico, Melanie Peters, ladies and gentlemen. Brava. And our narrator who saved us, Barbara, thank you so much, Barbara Henderson. She's so wonderful that I named the character half after her. And thank goodness we had our favorite set of twins here, the Madam and the Convent Nun, Karen Fisher. And wasn't Peter Flynn excellent as our barber? Yes. Thank you, Peter. And Gabriel Pan was willing to do a smaller role this evening. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you. And it was injury-free.
And our maestro and Lord Milo, Scott Paulson.
That's me. I'm Scott Paulson. The restraining order was lifted. Thank you. Well, that was good. The show is normally an hour long, and that was a half hour of drama, so that's wonderful. And I think we had a chance to talk a little bit already about why I enjoyed this script so much. It was such a pleasure to write it and celebrate the movie that so few people see. Hope you will come see it sometime. And it's so great to have these lady anti-heroes. Does anybody else have a favorite lady anti-hero from stage or screen? But obviously you think of people like Nurse Ratched in the film version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and that was Louise Fletcher, wasn't it? And she was wonderful in that. Anyone else have any favorite lady anti-heroes?
I can't remember the character's name, but in Dangerous Liaisons, or Les Liaisons Dangereuses.
And was it Glenn Close?
The Glenn Close character.
It's someone pointed out recently that Glenn Close, who won in a surprise and happy victory the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a movie, and what's interesting is that the age she is now is exactly the age that Lauren Bacall was when Lauren Bacall was supposed to win an Oscar for a film that she was in, and everyone was so sure she was going to win it, and she didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And people feel she didn't get it because the role was caught in a different time and not particularly current. And but with Glenn Close, she's just current all the time. God bless her. And as much as I love Lauren Bacall, what's great about an actress like Glenn Close is that you just believe her.
Oh, yeah.
And she's valid, and she's hip-hop happening now.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
Anything that she does, I'll go see. Even 101 Dalmatians. The movie is only as good as the enemy in it, as the villain. Yeah. Any other villains that we want to talk about tonight? Oh, people are just speechless. They have no opinions, I guess. Or they're just exhausted from that performance, just dripping with sweat. All of us are just dripping with sweat and blood and sweat.
I'm drained.
Well, Peter, you have lots of horror movies that you like, I know. So many. Oh, and he's frozen up. I wish you could see in radio what freezing up looks like. Freezing up! It took great courage for Peter to speak on the air because he usually doesn't like to, except for when he does like to. And it's hard to predict it. But I was so glad you were willing to act tonight, Peter. You were wonderful. A round of applause for Peter Flynn. Well, since so many of you are so speechless tonight, I'm going to look... Oh, here's a story. Here's a story from Peter Flynn's son, who's in the house. Could you come in here, Liam? It's always best when he sits in front of a microphone and laughs at his work as I read it. You can take your father's chair if you like. Let's see. It's a 2-pager this time. Oh, my. Probably starts right here. And ladies and gentlemen, we often read Liam Flynn's stories, and this one looks like it's another episode of something in Planet Sweatpants universe. So, good. I'm so glad you're here, and thank you for this story, Liam. I haven't read it yet, but I'll read it aloud now. Today, on Planet Sweatpants in Sweatpants universe, Ned's good friend Alex invited himself over to visit for a few days, so Ned decided to hide food everywhere and get it all over the walls and ceiling. He hid any food he could get his hands on. He also made sure to use a computer keyboard as a plate. He started at the moment he got a text from Alex stating that he was coming over in those few days. First, Ned hid a good-sized portion of food under the couch. Yeah, I'm telling you. Behind, under, and over, next to, in, on, and smeared on the TV. Also in a pair of large boots, in lighting fixtures, on top of his grandfather clock, in drawers, inside of cabinets, behind things, in empty backpacks, empty computer bags, and anywhere else he could think of. Then he proceeded to throw food all over one of the walls in the kitchen and throw food all over the kitchen and family room ceiling. After that, he ground plenty of food into the carpet and some of the rugs. He took a break for lunch and again used a computer keyboard as a plate and got so much food in it that it actually fried it. The next day, which was the day before Alex's visit, Ned went to Sweatpants Co. to do his shopping. He filled up 2 large carts completely. He also picked up a pizza as well. And when he got home, he put his stuff away and ate some pizza. A few slices fell on the carpet, which he ground in. So, he picked up the larger pieces and hid them, and then ground the rest into the carpet. When Alex arrived the next day, Ned was wearing sweatpants with suspenders. That's a fashion risk. Alex went into the guest room and found a half-eaten cheeseburger in a desk drawer. Then he found the rest of the old, rotting, moldy food Ned had hidden all over the house and yelled, "Hey! There was old burritos with long gray beards, old mac and cheese with shaggy gray hair, old pizza with gray goatees, partly and half-eaten foods, some really old enchiladas which were so old that they were completely moldy, fuzzy, gray, and green, a moldy old milkshake, stale bread products, half a jar of mayonnaise, extra moldy fruit, additional partly and half-eaten food, and a pair of sweatpants with talking pockets which were full of more old food." Then he also found the food under the rugs and noticed all the food ground into the carpets and rugs. We're talking about Alex right now, as I recall. He then gave Ned quite a funny scolding and a long, funny lecture. Afterwards, he made Ned clean up the whole mess, including the walls and ceilings with him. When Alex was dealing with the moldy milkshake, he got a face full of mold. Then Alex asked to use a keyboard with his laptop. Ned then gave him the one full of food. Alex noticed the food on it and cleaned it off, plugged it into his computer, and tried to do some quick work. Almost none of the keys were working, so he picked it up and gave it a good shake. He heard food rattle around in it and showed it to Ned and gave him quite an earful about it. Then the two of them got into Ned's car to go meet up with Pete at Sweatpants Electronics. Alex wanted to turn on the radio, but all of the stations were playing static sounds and vacuum/lawnmower sounds because Ned had gotten food inside the radio and damaged it. When they arrived, Alex told Pete about the whole incident with the food, and then they played around with some microphones, and Ned blew into one and got food in it. Alex then exclaimed, "Hey, that's very rude." Then they got lunch at a nearby Mexican restaurant after Sweatpants Electronics before going to other places to hang out. After lunch, Ned kept farting in the car, and Alex kept having to open the window and scold him on how rude and not funny it is. Once when they arrived at the next stop, Ned did a really big fart. It was so big, he had liftoff and shook some nearby buildings. At the end of the day, Ned and Alex went back home, and Ned said, "Let's eat TV and watch some ice cream." Alex then said, "Do you mean eat ice cream and watch some TV?" At bedtime, Ned tried to sneak some mayonnaise to bed with him to use as an instrument, but Alex saw him and asked him what he was doing. "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" Ned asked. "No, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish isn't an instrument either." Ned proceeded to prove that mayonnaise is an instrument and got a funny look from Alex. The end. Well, thank you, Liam Flynn. Another episode of Life in the Sweatpants Universe.
Pure fiction.
Well, I bet you if I spoke with Alex, I'd be told that a lot of it was true. You know, you have to write what you know. You do have to write what you know. And you know, there's an analogy in country music where for a great country song, all you need is 3 chords and the truth. So I think that we should turn one of these shorter stories into a country western song because it is the truth. And I think we could find the 3 right chords for it. Well, we're going to end a little early today. I think Wade is in the control room behind me. So I'm going to wave my arms around, much like Jean-Louis would have in one of those markets, you know. And Wade is on the phone. So we just have to talk longer. We just have to talk longer before he's able to switch on the, public domain music that takes us off the air. You could dance on the radio. You could dance on the radio, Peter. Well, we're just going to keep on talking until the public domain music takes over. I mean, I do have lots of instruments with me, but I just want to keep on talking until the public domain music takes over. That's what I'm going to do. Click my mind. And thank you, everyone, for joining me, Scott Paulson, and all my friends here at Ether Tail Radio Theater. Listen to the MGM Lion Roar, courtesy of Liam Flynn and his animal impersonations. Good night, all. Good night. We had a lovely time.
Attention coaches, authors, speakers, and business owners. Please pay close attention to what I'm about to say if you want to secure massive visibility fast and generate thousands of highly qualified leads without spending a dime on advertising or marketing. The easiest way to make this happen is to appear as a guest on the world's most popular podcast. We recently came across an awesome resource that provides detailed contact information for 240 new media influencers who are looking for guests just like you. It's called the Ultimate Directory, and for a limited time, you can get the preview edition of the directory absolutely free. That's right, for free. It's time for you to get the visibility you and your business deserve and connect with the world's leading icons of influence who can make you famous with the push of a button. Get your free preview edition of the Ultimate Directory right now at www.myultimatedirectory.com. That's myultimatedirectory.com.